In trading, logic and emotions are not the same thing. This is a really fascinating one. As somebody who's been coaching traders for a long period of time, what's really interesting is very often when I speak to very new traders, what they think will be the situation they find themselves in is often not. So what I will see with new traders, very often they will say, well, hang on a minute, what's the difference between making £700 on a trade and making £7,000 on a trade? It's just another zero. And if it's the same risk to reward relative to the size of your account, then it's essentially going to be the same thing. But what I say is the reality or the logic of that is very true. And ironically, it's often the new traders that throw that logic back at me. But the reality is, as a trader, you have to build up a strength and an immunity to trading with bigger sums of money. So it's one thing saying, oh, well, it's just another zero on the end. It's another thing as a trader being able to maintain that discipline as your account grows and you trade with bigger sums of money. And that's why sometimes traders can trade with a couple of £1,000s, see a consistent result over a 3-month period, and then they whack a huge amount of money into their account and then wonder why they can't stick to their rules, even though they're risking the same 1%, the same R value on each trade. That 1% is now 1% of 50,000 instead of 1% of 5,000. And the larger sums of money that are in play actually affect their emotions. So understand that logic and emotion are different, and your goal as a trader is to get more logical about the emotional states you're in and learn to manage them and build up a resilience so any emotions you have are kept to a very, very low level. So this for me is a key one. So number 4, stick to your plan on the trade, but as it says there, also over the long term. So there's one thing in the moment, sticking to the trade rules. So getting in at the right point, allocating the right amount of risk, sticking to your target. But that's very different than sticking to a strategy over a period of a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Because it's easy to stick to the rules of a trade if you are on a nice winning run, you've got regular trades coming in, and the trading strategy is performing well for you. But if you go through a 2 or 3 month drawdown period, which is essentially what I went through prior to these trades, the skill then is not necessarily sticking to the rules of the trade in that moment, but it's sticking to the trade plan that you have in place and giving that strategy enough time to go through its winning periods, but also its inevitable losing periods.